Hey guys, it's the Casual Canuck, bringing you more Pokemon and Nintendo related news and gameplay. So they did it. Nintendo finally announced their Nintendo Switch Mini, which is now being branded as the Nintendo Switch Lite. This is possibly this generation's worst kept secret so far from Nintendo, or from any of the manufacturers as it is. But I just want to do a general, not necessarily a trailer breakdown, but I just want to bring up some of the features possibly not announced in the trailer itself. So we'll start off with the basics. It is coming out on September 20th this year, so right around the corner. It is releasing in three separate colors. They're giving us this very pale looking yellow, a gray, and a nice looking turquoise. I'm a big fan of the turquoise, and that's really nice. And then there is one humongous noticeable change that everybody has been asking for when it comes to first party Nintendo controllers, and that's wanting a D-pad. So they finally gave us a D-pad, which is nice. We're going to have to wait till it comes out to see how it actually performs. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad as most of the Pro controllers. I myself have had a squishy D-pad on mine. I actually ended up picking up a 8-bit Do SN30 Pro just for some of those platformers. But it does come with the D-pad, which is really nice. We'll scroll down here a little bit and we'll go over some of the specs of the system itself. And starting off with the screen size is actually a little bit smaller at 5.5 inches. And unfortunately, it is still rocking that 720p screen. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I was kind of hoping we get a little bit of an upgrade, especially if this is just going to be a dedicated handheld console. But that's okay. It being that small, it's kind of negligible how well we'll be able to see it. It's still using the NVIDIA Tegra. That hasn't changed. It has 32 gigabytes of internal storage. That hasn't changed. That's kind of a big deal. They're doing a revision. It really would have been nice had they just given us a little bit extra. Every other console's coming out now, even 1 terabyte minimum storage. I was really hoping that they would have beefed this up a little bit. Just for people coming in, they just want to pick up the system and go. Well, you also have to get a memory card to go with it for a lot of these third-party games. That is what it is. Stereo speakers, naturally, we already knew that. And then it does have a micro SD card slot, which is good. It's a damn good thing they didn't exclude that for whatever reason, cost cutting or whatever. And then down here it's sensors. It does have the accelerator and the gyroscope, which is really cool. And here's one thing. So the battery life here is supposed to be longer than your standard flagship Switch. They said your standard Switch is going to last anywhere from 2.5 to 6.5 hours on a single charge. They're saying this Switch will last anywhere from 3 to 7 hours. So that's just a base 30-minute increase. Obviously, that's going to depend on game to game and weather settings. Maybe your system's heating up or something. Fans got to go with it. But regardless, it's only a 30-minute increase. I thought we might have gotten a little bit more out of it, considering they've gutted out the Joy-Con controllers. But that is what it is. And also, this is kind of interesting. The battery itself is actually smaller. So with this battery on the Switch Lite, it's going to be 3,570 milliamp hours, whereas the baseline Switch is at 4,310 milliamp. So it is a smaller battery. It does last a little bit longer, but I feel if they had jammed just a bit of a bigger battery in there, we might have gotten something that might have made people jump out of their seat. I know one of the big complaints for a lot of people with their Nintendo Switches, they're just not happy with the battery life on the system itself. And if this is supposed to be the 3DS killer, which I'm assuming this is going to be, especially at its launch price, we'll talk about that in just a quick second, it would have done the system leaps and bounds for consumers had this been an 8 or 9 hour battery life console. Just kind of that all-day battery. Maybe your commute to work, maybe you commute an hour to work, you have your lunch break or whatever, your commute home, and it's only 3 hours, but maybe you're out with your friends, or maybe you're going on a trip with some people, you're going on a road trip. Nintendo always likes to make it look like we're going and skateboarding and playing basketball and going to these rooftop parties and flying on planes. Give us a 9-hour battery life to go with that. But that is what it is. That's not going to change. but the actual launch price is $199.99. That's USD, of course. I'm in Canada. I'm kind of hoping for a $249 price tag. I already have a Switch. I plan on getting one of these just for the channel to do a little bit of a review for people. And this channel actually helps me spend money without my wife killing me so much. But on that note, they actually announced, it wasn't in the trailer itself, it was a separate Twitter post. They announced a Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield limited edition Nintendo Switch Lite, which I definitely am going to be picking that up. I'll put it on screen, but I'm pretty certain it said November 10th is when that's coming out. So that's coming out a little bit later. Obviously, I'll be doing my review a little bit later than other people, because if that's coming out, you know, I don't want to pick up any of these other colors. They look kind of nice. The turquoise is the only one I probably would have picked up out of what they've shown. But here, it looks like they're kind of listening to the fans. I'm hoping they did a little bit of a change with the analog sticks in these Joy-Con controllers. Just for the simple fact that no matter how you look at it, these Joy-Con controllers were built very poorly. They're not very well built. Everybody keeps having problems with the contacts with the analog sticks. Deep down inside the actual units themselves, they're wearing down. And that's why we're getting all these stick drift. Replacing your Joy-Cons is one thing, replacing a whole console is another. So hopefully Nintendo has made some changes to the internals of the system itself. I will say, I do like the look of the system. It's not super low profile. It's not super thin. It doesn't look like it's going to be really flimsy. It looks like it is built more for, you know, your kid. You know, maybe you're buying it for your kid, or maybe you're buying it as a spare Switch. Maybe you're buying it just, you know, maybe you just want one, or maybe you don't have a Switch yet, and you've been looking to pick one up, and maybe $300 is a little too steep, or maybe there's only 2 or 3 games out there, and you're going, why am I going to buy a whole console for 2 or 3 games? This is probably going to be the Switch for you. Now, just one last little note here. It does not connect to the TV. It does not have any sort of dock functionality or HDMI functionality. So that's one thing to take into account. They do also mention a couple other smaller things, specifically with game compatibility. So if a game supports Joy-Con functions such as HD rumble, IR motion camera, and Joy-Con motion sensors, some features will not be available using the Nintendo Switch Lite alone. Joy-Con controllers are also required to use these features. You can get other Joy-Con controllers and connect them to the system itself. I'm assuming a Pro controller would work the same way. So the games that support HD rumble and IR motion camera are Mario Tennis Aces, Snipper Clips, and Snipper Clips Plus. So just keep that in mind. You will need a separate set of Joy-Cons for that. And then down here it says, for games that do not support handheld mode, players can wirelessly connect Joy-Con controllers to Nintendo Switch Lite. In these cases, users will need to have a device to recharge Joy-Con controllers, such as Joy-Con Charging Grip. To find more compatibility information for specific games, please refer to the product packaging or Nintendo eShop. And down here under these, the list of games they have here, it says for games that support tabletop mode, players can wirelessly connect Joy-Con controllers to Nintendo Switch Lite and enjoy the following games with some restrictions as listed. Super Mario Party. It says Toad's Rec Room minigames, played by combining 2 flagship Nintendo Switch consoles with the Joy-Con controllers detached, are not designed for the shape of the Nintendo Switch Lite, so the game experience will differ from that intended. Then here we have 1-2 Switch. Then we have the Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 1 Variety Kit, the Toy-Con Robot Kit, and the Toy-Con Vehicle Kit. They will not be supporting this. Obviously, you would need to grab extra Joy-Cons. It would be very difficult to set up a whole Labo kit on your console itself. And that's it for me today. Thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. You have anything to add? Send it down in the comments below. And as usual, have yourselves a Canucking good time. Bye now.